All right. Welcome, everyone. This is James Pelton, and very excited to be with you all for another AMA. I want to tell you guys in the audience, I see a lot of names of people that make it to a lot of my AMAs, and I tell you what, you guys are like my second family. So I love hopping on here and just talking with you, looking at these, projects and what they're up to, what they're doing, and just discussing them with you. So I appreciate each and every one of you being here. What I need from you, as always, if you join a lot of my AMAs, you know this already, but I need you to hit the like button. And if you're watching this as a replay, also please hit the like button. I think we forget that actually 90% of my viewers on these AMAs are the replays, so we don't forget about you also. And then comment where you are watching from. What part of the world are you watching from? Always, again, interesting for me to see in my little suburb of Lincoln, Nebraska. So I'm in a suburb of a small town in a small state. But it's just cool. I can connect with people from all over the world through YouTube. It's amazing to me. So we have one guest here who will look very familiar. I think Colin is either number one or number two for most appearances on my channel, after me, of course.
I would hope so. That
Yes,
would be a problem if it was the other way.
that would be a problem. We'd have to call it the Colin channel. But it's good to have Colin here. And then we have a couple other new guests here today. So I'm going to start with Colin. Colin, just if people don't know you, can you do a quick introduction and then introduce our other guests as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. So thank you so much again, James, for having us on your channel. I know that I've been, pretty much a frequent flyer here, and I want to thank the entire audience for putting up with our dumb faces here every so often when we like to check in with the James Pelton crowd. For people who don't know who we are, I'm the CMO and one of the founders over at Hive Investments. What we are is we're a DeFi as a service passive income project, while simultaneously heavily focusing on additional utilities and independent revenue streams to really build out a robust ecosystem of utilities, and no longer focus on that traditional Ponzi-nomics aspect of it. Given the current market conditions, we've been constantly exploring additional options for independent revenue streams that aren't necessarily just investing into a DeFi protocol or even investing into our own utilities. And from there, in that relationship, we've been able to make a fantastic connection over with the guys over at Kadena Hashing, which is essentially a fractionalized Kadena mining operation facilitated through the use of NFT technology. Huge fans huge fans of this team. This team is fantastic. We're talking, the guys here have been mining for many years now and have worked out a fantastic structure behind the mining operation to ensure that we have not only profitability but also scaling profitability as time goes on, and especially as the Kadena network continues to increase in network activity. I certainly don't want to be the guy that's taking over this AMA. I've been featured more than enough on the channel here. So I want to be able to pass the stage over to Roth and Crypto DZ, and I'm going to let them go into the details of the project. I just want to say us over here at Hive Investments are absolutely proud and honored to be working in conjunction with the Kadena Hashing project. I think what you guys are doing is really some fantastic, phenomenal stuff, especially being able to maintain income streams no matter where the market condition is by utilizing physical miners and actually mining on a real blockchain.
All right.
Cool. Thanks for having us, James. So listen, right now in this bear market, everything's ugly. You look around and company, I was just talking to James before we got brought on live here. And it's funny because the crypto ecosystem grew so much over this last bull run. It was different in 2017 when the walls came crashing down. Bitcoin crashed, Ethereum crashed, all the altcoins crashed. But this time you have actual companies that are nosediving. You look at Celsius, Voyager, all the liquidations happening across the board. So it's really a lot of blood on the streets out there. But for somebody that's been around the block and has been through a few cycles now, I actually I saw this coming. And so I went to work planning this project in the bull market and just had to bide my time and wait patiently for the walls to come crashing down. And I made sure and stuffed some money in my pockets along the way and set it aside for this opportunity, and that's where we are today. So there's, beyond the shadow of a doubt, this is the time to build, and it's also the hardest time to command attention. But for those of you out there that haven't been through a cycle yet, just hear me when I say that the things that you do right now will pay many, many times over in the next bull run, and there will be a next bull run. It's just a cycle. It just happens in crypto space, and like I said, I'm excited to be here, and I hope you all will join us.
Awesome. And how about you, Roth?
Yeah, so I come in as a technical writer with a background in corporate engineering and bridged over into DeFi full time. I mean, it's over 6 months, less than a year ago, and got connected with Kadena Hashing a couple months ago on the writing side, and then we were chatting about that side of things and strategy for the project, and I was fortunate enough to be brought in as a partner. So I'm really excited to be helping out with all the writing aspect of things on Medium, white paper, social media, all that on top of some more strategic decisions and conversations. So really excited to be on the inside and be a partner here at Kadena Hashing. And I think I came into the space personally through a lot, early on was getting introduced to a lot of these passive income projects that obviously have struggled finding sustainability in a market like this. So it's extremely refreshing for me to be partnering with a project that is bringing in legitimate passive income through providing consensus for the Kadena blockchain. It's bringing intrinsic value to NFT holders through our physical mining facility. It's transparent, it's simple, it's legitimate. I'm really excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something about Ross. He's kind of reserved. I just want to say that he's young, but he's got one heck of a business acumen and wit about him. And I tell you, oftentimes he's sent me messages that help clue me into something that I wasn't aware of, and other times we've almost sent the same message at the same time. So it's really good to have him on board.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you guys, and I love what you said, Crypto DZ. That during the bear market you just build, right? Like that's all you can do is you just build and wait for the bull market. But what you do now is going to dictate, how much money you make when the market turns around.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you have to partake in delayed gratification and just know that your time is coming.
Yep, absolutely. So I want to welcome new people who are just hopping on. I see we've got a lot of people hopping on. So please hit the like button, comment where you're watching from. Good to see you, Matthias, and then 3 Doritos and JB. Doritos, it's probably pretty late. He's in the Middle East. Is it middle of the night there? I need to do some earlier AMAs so that you don't have to get up in the middle of the night to watch him. But I appreciate you being here. So I want to talk about Kadena Hashing first, and then we'll talk about Hive and what they're doing with Kadena Hashing afterwards. So for people who aren't familiar, could you talk a little bit about what is Kadena and what is your mining operation look like? Are you buying? I have a couple KD5s and a KD6 in my garage right now.
Yeah.
Is that what you guys did? Was bought a bunch of KD5s and KD6s, or how is the mining operation working?
Well, as far as Kadena goes, if you don't know about it, you should definitely look them up. The information is readily accessible out there on the interwebs. But Kadena is really, in my view, the only blockchain in existence that can process the world's transactions, and that's a pretty large statement. The one thing that blockchain has struggled with is scalability. And we see that with Ethereum, and Solana breaks every other week, and everybody that thinks they've got it figured, it breaks. Their system breaks, or their fees skyrocket. So Kadena offers a way out of that old way of doing things, and actually allows us to bring blockchain to the masses. It's still in its infancy, of course, but its blockchain is thoroughly tested. It can process many thousands of transactions per second. It's just a really fantastic, it's backed by an all-star team. It's got a lot of things working in its favor. As far as what we've done, I went the extra step to go ahead and buy some miners for the community. And we have a temporary facility up right now. It's not near as advantageous as our permanent one that's being put together, but nonetheless, we're mining, and I went ahead and spent right at $100,000 to buy some miners, and I'm putting 100% of that money in the treasury for everyone's benefit later on, which is a very important part of our platform.
Okay, very
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, go ahead, Ross.
I was just going to say, just to add on that a little bit, Kadena is a proof of work blockchain. So it's like, think of a scalable Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin doesn't have smart contract capability, but Kadena does, and it markets itself as a scalable proof of work blockchain through what they call chain web technology. And yeah, Kadena Hashing is capitalizing on the ability to mine Kadena, and our expectation that it'll be worth a lot more in the future. And we're democratizing that through an NFT collection that we're selling for a one-time cost that gives you access to the revenue that our mining facility produces in perpetuity. So really neat, and kind of once you understand the logistics of a pretty simple operation that's going on, but it's going to be profitable for those who get involved.
If it's okay, I just want to step in here because I have to say
Sure.
that I think that this is one of the coolest ways that we've ever seen NFT technology be applied into, an actual tangible utility. Instead of, having a bunch of individuals having to set up their own mining operations and their own mining rigs while shelling out tens of thousands of dollars in order to facilitate that, all of a sudden we've democratized and we've fractionalized the ability for people to have perpetual passive income coming in through mining operations while not necessarily having to shell out an absolutely huge amount while, dealing with the ongoing maintenance and things like electricity and things along those lines. I also, if possible, I'd love for Crypto DZ here to go into his detail and history in the mining operation and in the mining space, because we are very blessed, obviously, to have Crypto DZ with such an extensive knowledge and history within the mining space to make sure that we facilitated not only a high quality operation in mining, but also an operation that's allowing us to control, major costs associated with it, such as rent and electricity costs.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I went in search. Part of my strategy was, listen, everybody, I have another business first off, and I sell miners. So I made a lot of connections in selling miners, and through those connections, I've also have connections through the wholesale market. So I never pay retail for these miners. They're marked up several times before they land in your hands, and we can stretch our money a lot further by having those connections. But part of my strategy was I knew that I was selling miners to people. And listen, I was always very honest with people that I sold miners to the detriment of my business. They would ask me my opinion of cryptocurrency, and I tell them, look, we're getting close to the end of this bull market. And so, you're taking a risk by buying these second, third generation miners because in a down market, they won't be profitable anymore. And sure enough, one of the guys I sold miners to, as soon as he got all those miners, he couldn't afford, the market crashed, and he couldn't afford putting the miners up and finishing the electric costs. So, it turned out to be a perfect opportunity for us. So we swooped in, and I spent an additional close to $80,000 to finish his electric install. And for that, we get 2 years rent free at 6 cents a kilowatt, and it's powered mostly by wind. So it was just like a beautiful thing that landed in our lap there. And I jumped on the opportunity, and we just finalized. I just paid the money 2 days ago. He's pouring the slab this weekend for the transformer, and hopefully we'll be up and running in about 4 weeks. So I'm super, super excited about that.
That is very cool. And so I have three Kadena miners running. And one thing I like about this is I'm the guy you're talking about in that story. I mean, not literally, but I spent $150,000 on two KD5s and a KD6. And at the time they were making $300 a day a piece. And I was like, man, this is awesome. And I was loving it. And then now they're making about $40 a day just because of the bear market.
Yeah, let me
And
tell you, just a few short weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, you would easily spend $51,000 for a KD6, and then suddenly a KD Max comes out, and you can buy that thing for $25,000, half
yep.
the price, almost double the hashing capacity. So right now, like I said, is the time to launch because we can really scoop up some awesome miners, and our money is going to go a lot further than it would have just a few months ago.
Yes, you don't need to rub salt into that wound. I'm already feeling that. But
Sorry.
this is a great way where you don't have to risk $50,000 and you could take part. If this had been around back then, I might have put in, 10K or 5K and, risk that instead of the 150K. So I do want to talk just a little bit about Kadena. In my opinion, Kadena is the best technology chain, except for DAG. We can talk about that some other time. Second best technology, but the worst marketing. Like nobody's heard of Kadena. We have a lot of questions about, do you think Kadena will still be around after the bear market, things like that? Can you guys talk just about the viability of Kadena going forward?
Oh my goodness, yes. I like DAG, but I think personally they're about where the Kadena was a couple of years ago. So I think it's fantastic technology they have over there, and it's probably a fantastic long-term investment. But I think Kadena has a leg up on them in terms of infrastructure, and their marketplace is just starting to heat up. I mean, you start to see whispers of Kadena now all over the place, and their NFTs are launching over there. It's a really exciting time. But is Kadena going to be around? Yes. And does their marketing suck? It has in the past. They've actually just started doing a little bit better with that. But I think there was actually a reason for that, and that's because they prefer a slow burn, and they didn't want to explode this thing before its time. The infrastructure wasn't quite in place, and all of that kind of good stuff. So yeah, is it going to be around for sure? 100%. It's not going to be any, not a financial advice, but it's not going anywhere anytime soon. And as a matter of fact, I think it's going to shine very brightly in the next bull run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rob.
Oh, sorry. How big was the grant that they just approved for
It was $100 million.
everyone building? Yeah, so $100 million for builders to start building on, or more builders to be building on Kadena's blockchain. And I think the biggest hurdle is bringing TVL onto the on-chain and just getting activity going there. Like Crypto DZ said, the infrastructure is built, the scalable chain web technology. And it's just a matter of bringing more attention to that. And like you guys have already said, the marketing has sucked, but there are real strides being made toward that. And I think, if you have an amazing infrastructure product to provide and you just need to improve the marketing side, that's much better than the alternative. And I think, there is definitely a path to a very realistic path to Kadena surviving. Unlike a lot of other altcoins that we see.
Yeah, and let me say
we're very bullish on
that. Their market cap is only $300 million, guys, and they're giving $100 million away. So if you can't see the disparity in that valuation, I mean, you need to take a closer look. It's a giant disparity, and that's kind of the way that you make a lot of money in this space is you find things that are undervalued, right? And another thing I wanted to say is community is what really builds the hype behind a project, and the community is just now starting to get together.
And that's exactly the point that I really wanted to add on to. Because Kadena has really gone with a strategy of a slow burn, what we're seeing is a huge increase in uptick on amount of building as well as new projects that are coming out on the chain. That is going to just have that natural reaction of onboarding a lot of people from the traditional crypto space onto the Kadena chain from all of these new opportunities and innovations that are coming out strictly on the Kadena chain. So I think what we're going to see in terms of mass adoption is really start to pair up as a lot of the other chains that are facing current difficulties are starting to fade away. And we have more and more innovative products and innovative ideas and concepts brought to the Kadena chain as a whole.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely agree. And actually, I talked with the team once and I was just like, hey, your marketing's terrible. And they said, well, we're not actually trying to market. They're working closely with like the US on regulations, which I guarantee you AVAX is not doing that. But they're working with, they just want to go slow and make sure they're crossing out. They're looking for the long term. They're not looking for, hey, let's pump this short term. So a lot of it is purposeful. But having the miners, I wish they would ramp up the marketing a little bit.
I mean, look, in the short term, right? That's what we all want. We all want to see as much in the way of adoption, as much in the way of volume entering into this chain, because obviously we all stand to benefit the most. But I have to say, I really respect the strategy that Kadena has been going, especially on the regulatory side. You know me through the union of transparency. Regulatory side of crypto and DeFi is something that I'm very interested in, and I'm fighting very hard for. And I think that the strategy of following through with a much slower build, instead of building a house of cards that's ready to blow down at any minute, but rather build a very strong foundational structure behind a blockchain and then allow the building on top of that solid foundation is what's going to spell long-term success. And when we're talking about, in the scale of blockchains and the scale of mining, we're looking for the longer term, the better. That's where we're going to get the most amount of ROI. That's where we're going to be able to maximize our ROI. And so from our perspective, we're basically at the very beginning of this train. And I think it's going to be a very exciting journey to go on.
Yeah. Amen.
Very cool. Okay. And audience, I am going to take your questions. So keep asking questions and I will bring those up. Can the Kadena Hashing team, can you talk about the financials? Like how much does it cost to get an NFT? Are you getting your rewards in actual Kadena tokens?
Right.
Are you selling those and giving USDC? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yep, for sure. Yeah, there's actually a Medium article coming out later today that's going to list out all the prices, but I'm happy to share those now. We're going to have 3 tiers. The lowest tier is $160. The whitelist is not its own tier, of course, but it's just a special opportunity. It's going to sell for half. That's $80. The middle tier is $500, and the top tier is $1,000. The advantage of the middle tier and the top tier is going to come with a 1% kicker for the middle tier for all future farms as a thank you for helping us to get there. And the top tier will come with a 2% kicker. And just to talk about scalability for a second, we're looking at this farm here. This initial one is only 2.5 megawatts. But it has the ability on that grid to upgrade to 15 megawatts. And the models that we have portrayed out right now is only on 0.6 megawatts. So if you can take, when we release these types of information, and you can look at what we're projecting, right, and then multiply that out times 15 or more, you can see really what's in it for everyone to get involved with this, because we don't plan on stopping with Farm 1. And I don't know that we'll ever launch another NFT platform after this. As of right now, our plan is to launch this one and take it from there and just have everyone continue to receive rewards in perpetuity. So yeah.
Yeah, just to hammer that home real quick. So yeah, we're going to offer one tier is going to be $160. It's the lowest, up to 1,000, 3 tiers total. And the incentive for the higher price tiers is that your ROI is going to come a little bit quicker. So you're going to get a bit of a larger percentage of the pool, but not much. It's pretty fair for everyone involved. So just wanted to highlight that. And then what he said about the 1 to 2% kicker is that on top of this, all of the miners that we're buying for this first farm, when we do scale in the future to a second, third, fourth farm, however we provide that offering, the second and third tier are going to have exposure to the revenue of those future farms for doing absolutely nothing other than supporting us early on in our project. So that's huge. And that has really uncapped potential. We're not saying it's going to be potential in 6 months to a year. We're just saying we're here for the long haul. And if we launch another farm in 1 to 2 to 3 to 5 years or a couple more, we want to reward the people who supported us from day one.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. And so can you talk a little bit, people are always, where did that comment go? Doritos, he's all got good questions, but can you comment on the ROI at the current costs? And again, is that going to just be like monthly? You're given a percentage of the Kadena and you're saving some of it to save up for future farms, or how does that side of it work?
Right. Yeah. We do have a structure. There's going to be a portion of it that goes into treasury. And I forgot to answer your other question. Yeah, the rewards are in Kadena, straight Kadena. Um, you'll put in your address when you get the NFT, and those rewards will come to you. We'll pay once monthly after a 6-month lockup, because it's important for us to build our treasury first. And because, listen, we're like Ross said, we're looking long term here. So I know that bad times are going to come again at some point in the future. And I also want everyone to be able to participate in the upside of Kadena, which I'm also confident in. So in order to accomplish both of those goals, we have to put up enough money in treasury so that we can sell off those Kadena in better market conditions, so as to secure our funds to be able to renew all the equipment. As you know, new miners are coming out all the time. The hash rate's getting more efficient, so it's really, really important that we are prepared for that. And this, like I said, this will help everyone to continue to receive those rewards in perpetuity without any bumps in the road.
Okay, very cool. And actually, I just wanted to show one thing here real quick, just for this is something I use to make myself feel better. But this is market cap of, so Kadena at the market cap of AVAX would be at $31, which means, to put that in perspective, right now I'm making about each of my KD5 miners is making maybe like $30 a day, $25 a day. At $31 per Kadena, I'd be making like $500 and some dollars a day.
So our models actually project Kadena to go as high as $120 in the next bull run, and that's only if it reaches the median value of some of the more popular layer 1 blockchains in the last bull run. So the numbers start to get really wacky at that dollar amount, and I'm here to tell you, if you can just be patient and hang tight, you're gonna be very happy.
Yep, absolutely. And what are the percentage allocations for revenue? Percent to NFT holders, percent to reinvestment, and for the team?
We've got all of that we're not ready to quite release that. We're still working out some final numbers on that, but that will be released. Ross, when are you planning to release that information?
That's one of the weeks coming up. We've got the full schedule. Every time we post a weekly hash in a thread, we also release what the schedule is for the next couple of weeks. So it's either next week or the one after that, we'll be releasing that full breakdown. This week's article coming out later today is going to be around the NFTs themselves, and then teasing some of the design and the launch details as well. But the rest of it's coming week by week ahead of the actual launch.
Okay, very cool, man. I
can
can't
tell you this though. Let me interject.
Go ahead.
I found a great success in business by being very generous. And I often give more than what I should. And my wife is always on my butt about giving too much away. So, I did the best that I could. I poured over this for at least a month and focused solely on the revenue share and how we could do this. And I can tell you this, there are some other options on the market, and we're being more generous than those options.
Okay. Yeah. And we'll look forward to those numbers, but money that's used for compounding is not bad money. In fact, in a lot of ways, that's better. I would rather at this market price, I'd rather you keep the Kadena and sell them later than give them to me, because I'll probably sell them and do something stupid with them.
Yeah, no kidding. Selling Kadena right now at $1, what is it today? $1.60? That's just nuts. I don't plan on selling any Kadena at this price.
I also just want to add on to that. The concept of being able to reinvest, especially as new miners come out, and the complexity and the hashing rates of each one of these new miners come out, allows the Kadena hashing project to stay at the forefront of hashing abilities and maximizing the amount of Kadena earned for every single new block being mined, without necessarily having to shell out hundreds of thousands of dollars every single time that we have an update, simply by recompounding our own profits being made by our first generation mining facilities.
Well said.
Well said, Colin, as usual. Well said. So this is a question a lot of people have been asking. Is there a limited amount of people that can get involved, or how does that work? Because you can only get a limited number of miners. So what's the number of NFTs?
Well, there's going to be 15,000, and if one person comes in and buys all 15,000, well, that's it. The maximum number is one person. There's no set limit to how many NFTs you can buy as an individual. Of course, only risk what you're willing to lose, just like everything else. There's no guarantees in life. When the 15,000 are gone, that's it.
Okay, and then how long will the NFTs be purchasable for? Just until they
Until they
sell
sell
out,
out.
or
Until they sell out.
okay, all right, we're getting through these questions. And thank you so much, audience, for interacting. I appreciate it. Makes my job very easy when they answer the questions, the audience asks the questions, and I just look pretty. That's kind of what I'm here for. Do you know how many miners you're going to deploy?
Yes. Well, I'm starting the process of redoing the final calculations one more time. I've actually done these 6 times since I started, since I conceptualized this project, and it's an ever-changing dynamic. The difficulty is always going up. The new miners have come out, but I can tell you this: that we had planned on launching somewhere in the neighborhood of around 150 KD6. But that number has drastically changed now, because when I first did that calculation, the KD6, I could get them for, I think, around 35,000. But now I can get the KD Max for anywhere between 20 and 25,000. And it's 40 terahash, whereas the KD6 was 29. So it's a full 10 terahash faster. I can't tell you exactly right now, but those final calculations will be done today, and all of this stuff will be in the white paper.
Okay.
And we'll also be using the revenue we pull in from the NFTs are obviously going straight to the miners, but that's going to be an overtime process. So we're going to see fluctuations in the price of miners as we DCA into the farm. We can't give a solid number. Obviously, like Crypto DZ said, we've been estimating, but those change on a weekly, even on a daily basis. But we'll have something more solidified to share, like he said.
Okay, so keep your eye on their Medium articles. A lot of this is being hashed out as we speak.
Get it.
Yes. Dad jokes right there. Is there a set limit per tier, or could someone just buy 15K of the smallest tier? Do you guys know how that's going to be broken?
Oh, yes, there are. Ross, you can share those numbers. Do you have them there in front of you? How many of each tier there are?
Yep. Let me make sure I don't get them. No, let me make sure I don't get them wrong. So the lowest tier, $160, will be 7,500 available. The mid tier, $500 will be 6,500 available, and the highest tier for 1,000, there'll be only 750 of those available. And then the last 250 to round out the 15,000 will be for the whitelisted participants.
Okay, very cool, man. We're going to be here for 5 hours with all these questions coming in, but keep them coming.
I tell you what, James, we've actually released more alpha on this one than we have any other. So
well, that's how we like it. That's how we like it. That's why people
I'll just tell you guys right now, every single time I come on James Pelton's show, I have no option but to disclose more and more alpha than we're planning.
I tease it out of people.
He knows how to get it out of us.
You really do. You really do.
Okay, so Josh wants to know, we should talk about this. So I know you guys pretty well, at least Crypto DZ, we've talked a lot, but who owns the devices? What's in place to prevent you guys from just basically killing the project, and then you get all these KD miners?
Yeah, there's always that concern in the market, and listen, what I have to say to that is, Kadena Hashing. Well, actually, yeah, Kadena Hashing is going to be a Cyprus company. It's going to own all of the machines and all of that. And then, I'm KYCing. We got Ross here. We've got Hive here. And you just have to make the best decision you can. There's nothing that really stops anyone from just completely pulling the rug from up underneath you. But what I can say is, I hope that you look at all of the information available and see that we're here for the long haul. We'll be sharing live progress on the NFT farm. We'll have cameras out there. At some point, we're talking about getting Ryan Matta to fly out and take his drone and fly over the place, show all the wind turbines and all that kind of good stuff. So a lot of social proof we plan to put into the mix here. And all the machines will be insured for loss. We're putting up a giant fence around the entire thing to prevent access. It's a remote location. So like I said, you just have to take all of the information that's available to you and make the best decision that is right for you.
It's like, look, and I just want to add on to that as well. It's a fantastic question, and I totally understand the concern. At the end of the day, when we're talking about a potential negative, it's absolutely impossible to disprove a negative. It's the same reason I can't disprove Santa Claus isn't real. It's unfortunately, it's when we're
More
talking
alpha on my channel. Oh no.
I mean, geez, but, but when we're talking about the quality behind the project as well as the thought process that's gone behind the project. I mean, realistically, you're looking at two docs' faces on this interview as well. And then, of course, with a dedicated partnership with Hive Investments, which I think us over at Hive Investments has really demonstrated our ability to last long in this market and operate ethically within this market. Everything that Hive Investments has ever done has gone through full KYC, penetration testing, CertIC audits, everything, the whole 9 yards. And of course, anything that we go into with an official partnership, we obviously would demand all of our partners to be as absolutely legitimate and quality focused as we are.
Very cool. Very cool. And I like I know me and Crypto DZ, I have trouble not saying your real name, but I know we've talked before. I always feel a lot better since there isn't a token involved in this. It makes the launch way easier. There's not as many security issues. You guys don't have I don't think you guys have contracts that can be exploited and things like that. So it's a lot safer. Most rug pulls have actually been closer to exploits. Which I don't want to get into that too much. I was going to start
proxy contracts and things along those lines. The great thing is when you have a single contract that's just responsible for ERC 721 tokens, and then essentially all those ERC 721 tokens are a proportional representation of that mining pool. It becomes a much, much simpler project, much simpler for most people to fully understand exactly how this project operates, and it allows the logistics, the daily logistics on the project to be facilitated in a very easy and simple way.
Cool. And we're here to tell you, as an extra, just a buffer, I wouldn't spend over $200,000 of my own money to rug it. Just saying.
Very, very true. There's probably, I was gonna say there's probably a better chance of Kadena rugging than these guys, in my opinion. So, is there a legal entity? You talked about Cyprus. Is it registered now, or is it going to be in the future?
No, I just sealed the deal with our legal team today. It is being formulated right now. There will be Kadena Hashing will be a Cyprus company abroad, and that's for just all kinds of tax reasons and everything else. But then there will also be a U.S. company that will receive the profit share portion for the company, and that's used, of course, to pay staff, and it's our profit and everything else.
Okay, very cool. And I do want to get to Hive here in a minute, but a couple more questions, and then we'll get to Hive. This is a question a few people have asked, is there a tax to transfer or sell your NFT?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So our NFTs won't be transferable until we've sold out. And that's so that, people can't undercut us and all of that. It's supremely important that we sell out all 15,000 of our NFTs in order for us to accomplish our goals. But as soon as they are transferable, and this is easily done in packed language, by the way, on Kadena, we'll turn on the ability to transfer them. You'll be able to sell them probably on Marmalade, which is Kadena's NFT marketplace. And there's a 5% royalty that'll kick back to Kadena Hashing, and all 5% of that goes to the treasury.
Okay. And for whitelist, let's talk about whitelist for just a minute. Does the whitelist provide 50% off the lowest tier, or also for the top two tiers? What does the whitelist entail?
Yeah, it's 50% off the lowest tier. So the lowest tier is $160, and the whitelist entry is for $80, and you get the same benefits as tier 1.
Okay. And if people want a whitelist, what should they do?
Not ask.
There you go. That's what I do with my kids too.
I'm sure many people remember the Hive whitelist, right? Where we had a very difficult to get whitelist, and the only way to get that whitelist was not shilling it. It was not being annoying, was not alienating your friends, was not doing any kind of Discord invite games. I hate all of those different forms of whitelists. So the Kadena Hashing whitelist is done very similarly to the Hive whitelist, and that is simply by contributing to the different social media channels for the Hive. For the Kadena Hashing accounts, being helpful in the comments, being positive in the comments, being there to help educate other people to get into the project as well. Make sure everyone's at the same level of knowledge, and those people we're always monitoring, and reward those people with a surprise whitelist. There's no way to get a whitelist other than that.
Okay, yeah, Fight Club rules. Toro says. Yeah.
Well,
First
Fight
rule
Club
of
rules without annoying everyone else. That's my biggest problem with whitelists. Is always these Discord competitions or these invite competitions or tag for your friends or whatever. I hate those. I don't think those are great ways to build a community. And I think the best way to build a community is to offer the example of what your community wants to be, and then reward the people that are fulfilling that example.
Yeah, I hate the tweets that say tag 3 friends
Oh, get
because
out of here!
I
Nope.
get tagged in so many of those. I'm like, I'm not your friend. Like, why are you tagging me? Like, I've never heard of you. Why are you tagging me as a friend?
Hey man,
Very cool.
get me whitelist for this DGen project, please, James Felton.
Yeah. Well, I'll say I do not at this point have a Kadena hashing whitelist. Okay, so I'm in the same boat as you are, audience, and I'm not going to ask for one because I know that's the wrong way to get one. So let's move over to well, let's talk about launch, and then we'll talk about Hive.
Sure.
Do we know when launch will be?
Yeah, so here's another beautiful part about Kadena. Their programming language packed is human readable, and I've got a fellow that I've used. I actually employed him in a different business once before, and he has 30 years experience programming all sorts of different languages. And he didn't know Pact, but I asked him. I said, "Can you do this?" And he said, "Just give me a few days." So he goes in, he looks at Pact. A few days later, he comes back and says, "All right, I think I about got it. So let's get started." So that's the beautiful thing about it, is that it's easily read and done for programmers to come over and move from Solidity over on Ethereum to come over to Kadena. And he tells me that we're looking at around the 31st of July. Now, it's a little early to say for sure whether we're going to hit that target, but that's certainly our target. And we're going to initially launch with just the homepage and the ability to purchase the NFTs, the live stats, and all of the pretty stuff. The dashboard will come out thereafter.
Okay, very cool. And then do we know what chain and what will it be a stable coin that people need?
Yeah, so we're doing this in kind of a unique way. Since Kadena doesn't have its own stablecoin yet, we're going to be accepting USDC, and we're writing a script to check the blockchain to make sure the payment has come through, and then whenever it recognizes that, it's going to create your NFT on Kadena.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, that's a very unique way of doing it. Very cool. Okay, and last question for Kadena Hashing, and then we want to talk about how Hive is involved, because I know we have a lot of Hive investors. I'm a Hive investor, so we want to know how it's going to affect them. But how would you think about this? So Hydro Whales is doing almost the same thing, but they're using Bitcoin miners. So how would you kind of compare, if people should get into Hydro Whales and do this with Bitcoin, or if they should get into this and do it with Kadena? How would you help someone think through that?
Yeah, listen, nothing against Hydro Wells. I actually have talked to Sam over there, and I like him. He's a great guy. I think he's doing a good job over there. But our projects are solely different based on what we're mining. So let's take Bitcoin, for example. The top miner that's released, the S19 110 terahash, is making a dollar or two per day right now. So the ROI is just awful. And of course, the miner prices have just come down, but the ROI is still way out there. And Kadena, on the other hand, the top miner is making $29-30 a day. I don't know. I haven't looked in a few days, but and it's mining a whole crap ton more coins. Right? One miner can pull 18-19 coins a day. And that's the key here. Is Kadena reminds me of Bitcoin when it got started, when you could take a graphics card and mine 50 Bitcoin blocks, right? Just imagine now if you took those coins and stuck them in your pocket and sat on them for 10 years and look at where you would be today. Well, I think personally that this is the same opportunity that we have with Kadena. You can take these 19 coins per day, stick them in your pocket and sit on them for 10 years, and you're going to be very, very happy that you did so. So I think the ROI potential is massively different between Bitcoin and Kadena. There's more risk, of course, but that comes with higher rewards. So that's what we're doing over here.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, it's a similar concept on a chain that has far more in the way of potential upside in a midterm to longer term perspective versus the number one coin that I think we all know has some potential upside, but that difficulty has ever been increasing by these, essentially, hashing wars that have been happening between, nation states as well as, big institutional level mining operations. What we're trying to do is we're trying to solidify our spot on an up and coming blockchain that's going to possess the most amount of upside in proportional risk, to the individual cost for each one of these miners.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. I was going to say the exact same thing. You have a higher, like Kadena is primed for a 30x, I think.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is probably going to be a while before Bitcoin 30x's.
Yeah.
But there's also higher risk because Kadena,
right.
is not, if Bitcoin goes away, everything else is going to go away too. And Kadena's, smaller market cap, so higher risk, higher reward. So you just kind of have to think through it that way.
Everyone has their own levels of risk reward, right? Everyone has their own risk profiles that they're willing to accept. With the amount of research, and I think if the people with lower risk tolerances, I highly recommend to really look in depth into the Kadena blockchain and the future of this blockchain.
Yes.
The people that have been around in crypto for a while, have that sixth sense in order to find that winning chain that's going to be, one of the kings of the next cycle. And that's why we're so confident on the Kadena chain for the longer term future.
Very well said, Colin.
Yes. And we've got a request. Colin needs to chill with the big adjectives.
I'm sorry.
This is crypto education, not English language education.
I'm sorry. Two letter words only from now on. My apologies.
Thank you. Okay, and I'm sorry. This is the last one, and mostly because I'm curious. But can we get cheap KD6 miners from you, Crypto DZ?
Well, okay. I get the question all the time. Where do we get the miners? It took me years to culminate these relationships that I've built, and it's hard to find a really good supplier in China. And as a matter of fact, you'll lose a lot of money in that pursuit, very possibly. And the language barrier is difficult, but to find someone you trust over there is very, very important asset to us. And I have a couple of those, so that I always like to pit them against one another so that I can get the best price. But we're not going to sell miners initially, but I have thought about at some point, after, our first priority, of course, is to max out the farm. But I have thought at some point that we may offer a service to sell miners to our members at discounted prices, for those that want to, mine themselves. So it's not certain, but it's something that's a possibility.
We're certainly open to the concept. Our priority here is to really build out a robust mining operation that's scalable over time. And I think once we're at the point where we're comfortable that we've achieved those goals, we're more than happy to potentially leverage the pre-existing relationships that both Hive and the Kadena Hashing projects founders have, and then apply those benefits to obviously Kadena Hashing NFT holders.
Yeah.
As an additional benefit on top of the perpetual benefits that our NFT holders get just by simply holding and getting mining rewards.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, and I posted a link. That's where I got my miners. So, and I bought them and received them. So that's that's better than a lot of miner purchases.
It's a good sign. You got them. That's all that matters.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, well, let's switch over to Hive now. So I think we get a good idea for Kadena hashing. We're really excited about that. Can we talk about Hive and how Hive is involved? Are you helping them get off the ground? Are you putting a bunch of treasury in? Can you talk about the partnership?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the one thing that we're extremely excited over here at Hive Investments. One of our major goals was to be able to have our robust treasury and allocate portions of our treasury into high quality projects that stand to have a huge amount of upside for not just our holders, but the projects that we're looking to invest in as a whole. We're really happy and really excited to have Kadena Hashing as one of those specific projects. So the Hive Investments ourselves, we have purchased 7 miners at about $11,600 $100 each. And that gives us 16.2 terahashes per unit in terms of our own mining facilities. So Hive Investments has not only invested and partnered with Kadena Hashing, but we've also put our own money where our mouths are, and we own and operate 7 miners currently mining in the temporary mining establishment that we have set up. In addition to that, Hive Investments also has a 7.5 equity stake over the mining rewards that are generated through our partnership, where we're essentially helping promote heavily the Kadena Hashing project and introduce it into as many DeFi people's eyes as possible.
Okay, very cool. So you actually have your own. Hive has their own miners.
We have 7 miners. We have 7 miners, and we have an interest stake into the long-term success of the Kadena Hashing project as a whole.
Okay, very cool. So what do you think token holders should expect in terms of token price? Are you going to be just holding on to the KDA? So this is kind of a long-term play for the Hive treasury, or how do you think through that?
We have a few different approaches in the way that we're looking at it. I mean, realistically, it's for us is to really understand how protracted and long this bear market can potentially be. We don't want to be in a situation where we're liquidating our own mining rewards at a deeply discounted rate and potentially cutting our knees off despite our legs. Having said that, obviously, our priority here is to be able to provide consistent passive income to our investors with our DeFi as a service protocol being Hive Investments. And so what we plan on doing is utilizing all of that revenue that comes in through this, essentially perpetual revenue generation mechanism with our partnership with Kadena Hashing, and offer that, offer those benefits back to our investors by either reinvesting that capital back into, pure and utter Hive-owned utility plays that are going to produce additional, independent revenue, or operate buybacks and operate things that are going to help out our token price, which obviously has a tertiary benefit for all of our Hive holders. Whoever holds a Hive Genesis NFT or a Baby Bear NFT stands to benefit by increased price action or increased revenue from a protocol perspective as a whole. Either way, it's a win-win for our community. It's a win-win for Hive, and it's a win-win for Kadena Hashing.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, and it's such a tough balance to strike with something like this. Of do you sell? I was just looking up just for fun, but yeah, if KDA ever gets up to the price of BNB or the market cap, I mean, we're looking at 134x on your money now. So there's just this.
I think that those numbers are definitely much more on the way of aspirations. I don't think realistically we're going to see those kind of numbers in the next bull run. However, I think that the dramatic upside that we have is not necessarily 137x, but I do think we have in the 30 to 50x range. And that's obviously when we're in a situation where today's prices were already profitable, operating these miners and setting up the mining facility is already profitable at today's prices. Obviously, I'm sure everyone can see as that market cycle starts to change again, that those profits just consistently go up. As more interest comes in, more liquidity comes into crypto. It only stands to benefit. So the fact that we're already profitable at today's prices gives us a lot of confidence for the future.
You got to believe.
Yeah,
Colin, you got 137x. It's coming. It's coming.
Hey,
I will pay off those machines that are in my garage. They will get paid off, and my wife will be happy about it. And not to mention the noise and the heat in my house. Like, my wife is not a fan of Kadena. I don't mention Kadena to my wife.
Once we have the mining facilities completely set up, we can certainly talk to you and potentially even offer some way that we can manage your miners in our purpose-built mining facility, right? One of the beautiful things about the way that we've organized this is we've not just organized, facilitating and receiving of the miners. We've organized, the holding facilities, the maintenance facilities, the storage facilities, as well as the electricity and the, consistent cost bases that would be, in line to operate these miners. All of these things have been thought about, and I think that that's something that's, very unique from someone who maybe just has a couple miners in their garage, kind of figuring things out as they go.
Yeah, Colin, I wanted to add to that something that we haven't told anyone, but we are going to carve out a little bit of space for our NFT holders. We know that co-location is very difficult, and if you don't have multiple miners or experience in that, you don't know how to run your miners. And if you want to get in the space as a personal miner, we are going to carve out a small space for our NFT holders to begin with, because it's not nearly as profitable for us to host miners as it is to actually run them. But as a service to you guys, that's what we're going to do. And as we scale, of course, that hosting ability will grow with the farm.
Okay. Very, very cool. And I think there was one other question. Oh, yes. Does Kadena Hashing have a Discord channel?
Coming, we're planning on launching that around the 15th of July.
Okay. All right. Very, very cool. Well, I think we'll kind of end there. That's most of the questions. If you do have more questions, wait. I think some of these Medium articles coming out will answer a lot of the questions that have been asked.
Yeah.
And then when the Discord comes out, make sure you can get the details of, exactly how the tokenomics is going to work. And then we'll wait to hear about a launch date. But I'm bullish enough on Kadena that, I bought 3 miners myself. And I bought them at a bad price. So right now is a good price. You can get it for about a third of what I paid for them. So very exciting. And I think this is a really neat idea. I've had tons of people ask me about doing something like this. And I'm just happy that someone got together and did it. So,
we've been working very hard in the background to make sure that we have the ability to sustain all of our protocols and make sure that DeFi stays a consistent passive income stream for people, no matter where the market conditions go. And that means being able to pivot and find new opportunities, no matter what market conditions that we are in. And we're very happy that we've been able to achieve that and be able to partner with such a high quality team like the Kadena Hashing team.
And James, we would love to circle back to you after all the information's come out. We would love to circle back and do this again in a month or 2.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Just reach out. Happy to have you guys anytime. So, and I'll be purchasing at least a few NFTs myself as well. Although, do I have too much Kadena exposure already? Maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. I'll think about it. Okay.
Well, how about this? We'll talk about potentially grabbing your miners in exchange for a few NFTs, and we'll happily welcome you into our family.
Okay, there you go. We'll make a win-win deal there.
Excellent.
Awesome. Well, hey, I want to first off thank the audience. You guys are awesome. You make my job so easy and enjoyable. Please hit the like button on your way out. If you're watching this as a replay, it's even more important that you hit the like button on your way out. And the team, Ross and Crypto DZ and Colin, thank you guys for hopping on. It was great chatting with you.
Thanks so much for having us,
Thank
James.
you.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Reach out if there's anything I can do to help out with as you get closer to launch.
Always, brother. Always, brother. You look, man. You know how big of supporters of you that we are all. That we are. We really love you, James. We love what what you bring to this space and the amount of clarity and high quality content you bring out. Really appreciate everything that you do, James, and always that goes vice versa. If there's anything that we can ever do to help you out, please don't hesitate to let us know.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys. Everybody, take care. All right. Bye-bye.